Military leaders in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger refused to congratulate Donald Trump, a bold stance on African sovereignty. In a time when congratulatory messages from around the world are extended to newly elected leaders, the military governments in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have collectively refrained from acknowledging the U.S. election results, showing a marked departure from typical diplomatic norms. This gesture underscores a growing resolve in the Sahel region to reassert sovereignty and resist external influence, a position that resonates deeply with many Africans who are critical of Western intervention on the continent. Rising nationalism and self-reliance in the Sahel. The refusal to congratulate Donald Trump is not an isolated move, but rather part of a broader trend across the Sahel region. The leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have recently ousted democratically elected governments in favor of military rule, arguing that existing leadership was too closely aligned with Western interests and unable to address pressing security and economic issues. These leaders are making a conscious decision to distance themselves from the West, instead focusing on regional cooperation and homegrown solutions to African problems. In addition to this stance, several of these leaders have taken bold actions, such as expelling French military forces and shutting down certain Western operations in their countries. In recent years, the growing presence of Russian and Chinese interests in the region has added complexity to the geopolitical landscape, leading many African nations to explore partnerships outside of traditional Western alliances. From all of us at This Africa TV, thank you for joining us on this journey. If you felt moved by the stories we shared, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Your support means the world to us, and together we can keep bringing light, love, and inspiration to every corner of our community. Now let's return to our story. Limited expectations from U.S. leadership. For years, Africa has been at the periphery of U.S. foreign policy. Despite periodic visits and promises, Africans have generally seen little direct benefit from American leadership changes. Some African leaders and citizens had high hopes during previous administrations, but the continent remains largely an afterthought in the U.S. political arena. The leaders in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger appear to be making a statement that, for them, foreign leadership, including from the U.S., is not a primary concern. This sentiment is compounded by a prevailing belief among many Africans that the United States prioritizes its own interests over those of African countries. Donald Trump's previous term, in particular, was characterized by little engagement with Africa beyond economic and security interests. Trump's stance on immigration and aid policies was often viewed as dismissive of African priorities. Therefore, it comes as no surprise that military leaders in the Sahel, who are committed to reshaping African governance and self-determination, would choose not to engage in formalities with the U.S. Moving towards African unity and regional solutions. A consistent call from the Sahel's military leaders has been for greater African unity and self-sufficiency. They argue that the continent's challenges, whether economic, security-related, or social, must be met by Africans themselves. In this regard, they have suggested forming regional alliances and even a unified military force for the continent, a vision that reflects Pan-African aspirations for a stronger, self-reliant Africa. This approach also reflects a shift from reliance on international aid and military support towards homegrown strategies to address regional instability and poverty. African leaders are increasingly aware that true independence and security can only be achieved when they stop depending on foreign powers and instead foster cooperation within Africa. The path forward: redefining African sovereignty. The actions of military leaders in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger mark a potential turning point in Africa's relationship with the West. By choosing not to congratulate Trump, they send a powerful signal that their priorities lie with African autonomy and resilience, not with currying favor from Western leaders. This stance also serves as a call to other African leaders who continue to look to the West for aid and solutions. It suggests that Africa's path to development lies not in external promises, but in uniting and investing in its own resources and people. While this path is likely to be challenging and fraught with obstacles, the refusal to congratulate Donald Trump illustrates a growing confidence among African leaders in the Sahel to define their own destiny. In a world where African nations are often seen as recipients rather than decision-makers, the decision by these Sahelian leaders to withhold formal congratulations from the US president-elect might seem small, but is symbolic of a larger movement. It is a reminder that Africa is increasingly ready to chart its own course, one that is rooted in sovereignty, regional cooperation, and a rejection of dependency on foreign powers. From all of us at This Africa TV, thank you for joining us on this journey. If you felt moved by the stories we shared, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Your support means the world to us, and together we can keep bringing light, love, and inspiration to every corner of our community. Until next time, thank you deeply for watching, and stay connected with us.